My next strategy revolves around telephone scripting. And this is a topic that's hard for me to give you a super concrete strategy around, but I want to share with you my experience and where I've had success with telephone scripting and the limitations that I have found with it. So if you work in an office that has a telephone script, what I will tell you is that generally that script is meant to serve as more of a framework and more of an example than it is a technical script. And so if the word scripting is being used, that's just a common word for it. I like to call those examples verbiage examples, right? So I like to give people examples of what I might say because it gives them a place to start. But then I like them to take that verbiage and turn it into words they would actually use, right? So I say awesome a lot. I sometimes work with team members who wouldn't feel comfortable saying awesome on the phone. That feels insincere or fake to them. And am I fine if they don't use the word awesome? I am, as long as the intention of that verbiage and the framework of that conversation are executed. That's generally what we're trying to provide when we give our team members scripting. So finding words that are confident for you that accomplish the same thing. Now, if you're given a script and then you change it completely because you don't like that, that's not the same. But if you change a word or two or a slightly different shift on a word, usually that's acceptable if the outcome is being accomplished. So you can talk to your managers, learn a little bit more about what their exact expectations are around any scripts that might exist in their office. But I can tell you that most managers would want you to execute a confident phone call over perfect words, right? As we've talked about tone, as we've talked about connection, I can tell you that that doesn't happen through perfect words. It happens through intention and meaning and the energy you bring to a phone call. And so typically when I am training teams on phone skills, what I provide is a framework, right? A sort of an order or a system to move through a conversation. And then I give examples of how I lead into those sections. And so I'm more in favor of a framework. And you'll find that if you don't have a framework and you're just winging it on the phone, that a framework may initially feel a little bit uncomfortable to you. But once you move through it and have some successes with it, it will create so much more phone confidence for you that ultimately teams come to really prefer to have those things mapped out for them in a way that they understand how the office wants to be reflected and what the office wants to happen as an outcome for each of those calls. So if you have been given some scripts and you like to make some changes to them, I would recommend that you seek feedback on those changes. Say to your manager, hey, I like to say it like this. Does that sound okay to you? Is that acceptable to you? And also practice those scripts. If you're imagining that you can just read from a sheet of paper when that phone call comes in and have it sound natural or real to another person, it's just not going to happen, right? So even if you don't love the words initially, practice them enough to be confident and seek feedback about how they sound. Because I can also tell you, as somebody who teaches a lot of phone skills, that I've heard people repeat my words verbatim in a phone call and it didn't land because they didn't mean them or they didn't apply the appropriate tone or cadence to them. And all of those things matter on the telephone. We only have our tone and our tempo on the phone. That's all we have. We have zero body language. People can't see us. They can't perceive that we're a nice person. And sometimes people, when they're using words that they don't feel confident with, come across very flat or even cold. And that's really the exact opposite of what we're trying to create by training up and having these scripts available.